Okay, so I'm gonna try doing this in class, and hopefully you can hear everybody's voices. It's the first time that I've done this, so if it doesn't work, I apologize. But you kind of need to see how this is going to work so you guys can do it in your groups, because this is due tomorrow night at midnight. Okay. So when I'm looking at a lot of your papers in here, a lot of you have some really good ideas, and a lot of you have some really good stories, and a lot of you have some really good details. What you're missing, though, is the rising action to the significant part of your story. Okay? When you're writing, most of you did really well adding details to your paper. You have to remember that you have a rhetorical purpose. Okay, other than the grade, you are trying to get me to react to your story in a very specific way. Okay? And so you have to decide what the significant moment or the significance at all is in your paper. Okay? So, I thought I would help you, like we would go through one activity and then I would show you another student who I helped her with it this morning. She said I could share. And then I'm going to let you do it on your own. Okay? So, because most of you are familiar with car accidents, I've been in 10, and this morning was the first time was ever my fault. Okay? Well, let me see if I... Okay, it was totally my fault. The light turned green. Everyone moved forward, including me. The guy in front of me didn't. My little bitty Mazda Miata slammed into the bumper of some little beaten-up POS white truck. I pulled over to the side, already reaching for my insurance. The guy behind me pulled up behind me in order to be a witness. The guy I hit looked at me, cigarette about to fall out of his mouth, and simply drove off. Okay, to make it weirder, the GMC truck behind me also pulled out and drove by me. Thank you! Okay, so... what... Yeah, I don't even know how to say, like, what really happened, because, that's it. That's what happened. And the class that I talked to this morning, they were like, I was like, okay, so what is it that you want me to do? What do you want me to focus on? Okay. And so they were like, these are the questions that they asked me. Okay. How are you feeling? What did your car look like? How fast were you going? Make it more poetic sounding. Okay. So this is, when they started asking me things, this is what we came up with, and they hated it. Okay. And I'll tell you why in a second. Okay. My cute, shiny black convertible that had just been washed and waxed 24 hours before, smashed into the dirty, dented bumper of the small pickup truck in front of me. As my car went under the truck, a bucket shifted or recoiled, because we couldn't decide on the word, okay, to the tailgate, and when I hit the tailgate, water spewed like a fire hydrant over the truck, the road, and my Miata. As I noticed the water, I also noticed and felt my neck snap forward, coming a mere inches away from my steering wheel and the airbag, and then my head slammed back into my seat. Okay. This is okay. They were okay with it. But then they realized that they were actually more interested in my feeling because I was terrified to call my husband to tell him that I'd been into a car wreck. And so they were like, well, that's what you really need to write about, Coach, is like your emotions, so we can get emotionally invested and be, he's like, right now I can't tell if you're angry or like in this. And I was like, dude, I'm in the twilight zone. Who leaves a car accident when it's not their fault? What's the obvious answer? Yeah, or someone who doesn't have insurance, or serial killer. No, serial killers are like psychopaths. They probably would be like, hey, honey.
No, if they're like known.
Oh, yeah, if they're wanted. But we were at a light, too. Like, I'm on camera as hitting him. Yeah, I know. And I chased him down. Okay, literally chased him down. It was like doing this. Pull over, pull over. And then he kind of saw me and then he did this. And he went through the next light and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fight this. I'm just going to go to school and conference with my students and take some Tylenol. Okay. So, that's why I won't be here Tuesday. And like my message to my husband was, okay, please breathe before you listen to the rest of this voicemail and know that I'm okay. But I just got into a car accident and it was my fault. And I'm really sorry. And please remember that I did not wake up this morning and go, oh, how can I piss off my husband today? I know, I'll get into a car accident. Okay. So, yeah. This morning they were like, you really need to get us like on your emotional side, so we're kind of on your side on this. Okay, and I was going to ask you to help me do that. What would make me a victim instead of like the person who perpetuated the entire problem? Because I am the person who created the whole problem. Why? What did I do? I darn sure did. Okay? Everybody else was going. He was the only one who didn't, but it was still my fault because, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so how can I turn this into like I'm the victim?
I don't know, not sound like.
Not sound like what?
I don't know, just like it was my cute, tiny black convertible. I just washed and waxed, bumped into this dirty.
So not sound like a jerk?
Yeah.
You weren't going to say that. You were going to go like the whole B word, weren't you?
No, I was gonna say arrogant, but then I was like,
No. No, that's not like, that's the perfect word.
You're trying to victimize yourself. You don't want to be super arrogant
And sound like a Karen.
pig-headed. Yeah.
What? Yes or no? Is that what this kind of?
Because I mean, if you're talking about your what is it, a Miata, my convertible, you know, and like you're talking about how you just got it like washed and waxed, and you're describing the other car as like super dirty.
How's that? Oh,
No, because there's no.
wait, if I took this out. Wait. Oh, okay, hold on. Ooh. How's that? Is that better? Okay. So, yeah, you can read it now? Let's see if we can make it a little. Is that even better? Ha Okay. Love it when that works. Okay. So, take out the part that makes me sound arrogant. And then what? What am I doing? What do I need to add here that would make me sound like a victim? That would make it sound like I'm in the twilight.
Describe how scared you felt and how like you were like panicking because you were like, this is my fault and my husband's gonna get really mad at me and I'm gonna cry.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, right? Okay, and the laughter tells me you completely like are like now you're good. Now this is better. Yes. Okay. So. I'll put happen in there. Okay.
Oh yeah, so that is good because it explains like why he would be more mad than normal.
Okay. That's not, I don't want to put to make matters worse because that's a cliche. Here. Yeah? No? What else could I put here? Huh? What?
The autocorrect said no.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that. I just changed this. Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay. Okay, what else could I say? To get you guys on my side.
Describe the feelings that you had when you left that voicemail with your husband. Say like you shakily.
Okay, I had never. Okay, hold on. I have never, not once in my life of almost 52 years, not called the cops when I was supposed to. Never. Add to the fact that I needed to call my husband and plead my case. I also decided to leave the scene of an accident that I had caused. Okay, so now I'm feeling like I've just turned into like the biggest criminal and I've lost my audience. So what could I do here to keep you guys feeling sympathetic?
The car driver knew it was the person that needed for you to call the cops.
And you're totally okay with that?
Yep.
Goose.
Wait, go back up. Did you delete the part where you said let me leave?
Yeah,
Did I just say to leave?
No. Like this part is still like, see, we just deleted that.
Is that part still part of the story?
Yeah, it's part of the story. I've just literally like started to, I needed to expand the accident itself because that was the significant moment. That was the rising action, right? And then because I am trying to get you a little sympathetic, is airbag one word? I guess it is. Okay. So because I'm trying to get you guys a little sympathetic, that's why I'm asking like, okay, are you still on my side?
I mean, I think since you described that like you left the scene, if you say like you tried to be a good person and like chase him down and like you pulled over and like you wanted to like do whatever with like insurance and stuff, then I think we would bring that sympathy back up.
Okay.
Instead of being like, yeah, so he left, so I just left too.
Okay. Me, a criminal. Yeah, that's me. Okay. So do I need to add anything here? Or can I leave it with like, I decided to call my husband? Why not just go ahead and get killed by the police and my husband all at the same time? That's really what I was thinking. I kept waiting for the cops. Like, and I'm not even making that up. Is it Interstate 35? Oops. Nobody's saying, is it Interstate 35? I think it is, because it's the big, It's the blue and the red sign. Okay, why is this not? Thank you. Okay. 5. I kept looking in my mirror to, like, waiting or expecting blue and red lights. Yeah. This, like, 114 and 377. Right there in Roanoke. Huh? Because you're like, oh, I live right over there. See? I've never had an accident there either. I'm like, I've never. Okay, lights to appear at any moment. Okay. All right. Now, at some point, there has to be resolution. Yes? Yeah. He really wasn't. He handled it really well. But of course, my voicemail started. Hi. Please make sure you sit down and breathe before you listen to the rest of my voicemail. And know I'm okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was really expecting like the whole, damn it, Liz, you need to be careful. How many times have I told you, like, were you messing on your phone? I was really expecting the whole parent sounding speech, and he didn't do that. And I was even like, thank you for not yelling at me. And he's like, you don't have to be sarcastic. I'm like, no, I'm about to cry, so thank you for not yelling at me. I love you. So he's like, it's okay, just, you can't do anything tomorrow because you have to go take the car into the shop and get the estimates for the insurance company. Okay. All right. So, what did I do with this whole part here? What did I change? Like, why did I take this sentence out? No, the highlighted one. Why did you tell me to take it out? Okay, because it made me sound mean. Okay, like it didn't fit. It didn't fit the tone, right? Okay, and that's what they were saying this morning too. They're like, Coach, we can't really get on your side here because it's not fitting. Okay, and they're like, do you want us to be angry or do you want us to be like sympathetic? And I was like, both. I'm like, I want righteous indignation. And they were like, you can't do that here. Okay, and I was like, all right. So, one, I want to point out the fact that they actually told me like this first part was not my significant part. The accident itself was not significant. And it wasn't going to get the sympathy that I wanted it wasn't going to make the connection that I wanted. Okay? Which I needed to hear. Okay? I was going in the wrong direction. Okay? And then two, what did y'all help me do here? Yeah, like I did sound more like a victim, more like a human being who'd done something wrong, was trying to like do something right, didn't get to, okay, was afraid to call her husband, okay, and like even that handed out okay, like y'all are giggling, so that tells me that you are like you're connecting, okay, that's kind of my feedback here. So, and here's my resolution, right? Don't hit anybody else. Okay, and he was like, if your head starts hurting worse, I'm like, you know it's going to, since the adrenaline wears off. I'm like, my head is going to start hurting. And he's like, well, if your eyes start getting funky. I was like, okay. So, all right. So guess what I'm going to ask you today to do in your groups? What does that mean? The same thing. How? What are you looking for? You're not even looking for the bad parts. What are you actually looking for today? Okay, the rising action and the climax. Okay, I thought the rising action was the car accident. No, the rising accident is what happened after the car accident. Okay, which I would not have realized had y'all not been like giving me feedback. Okay, and telling me, because this is what you gotta do. Okay. My climax is the part where, yeah, right here, right? Because I got into the car wreck, but that, like, nobody really cared. Everybody gets into a car wreck all the time. And I was like, dude, this is this is the Twilight Zone continued from last night. Because did any of y'all watch any of the football games last night? We're not going to watch any, well, I don't know. I don't, like, my husband's boycotting them, but I'm not. Because I like football, but I'm, yeah, and it was really weird watching empty stadiums. And, like, the baseball games, have y'all watched any baseball games during the summer? Yeah, they have these cardboard printouts that they put behind home base.
And they have like fake cheers.
Yes, 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 okay. And so they did that for football. They only have, like, they have these fake cardboard cutouts only behind the end zones. Okay, and so it's just like, it's just weird. And then they have the voice of people going, oh, the crowd. It's like, it's bizarre. So I'm like, yeah, that feels like the Twilight Zone. And this did too this morning, because I've never had anybody drive off, ever. Of course, usually my accidents involve T-bones, so nobody can drive off. Okay, all right. So your job today is to get into groups with your paper and try to find the significant moment, because they should be making a connection with you. Okay, and I promised I would share Bragg's because she told me I could. Okay, she's not in that class. She's in 14, and she's in Monday, and she's here. Okay. So she is talking about her brother being in a soccer game, and then, oh man, she's already changed it all. Hold on. Okay, so let's, yeah, okay. Yeah, so she had this, her brother got into, no, he didn't get into an accident. It was, he was playing soccer and he got kneed in the head. And he went down. Like, he got kneed to the point where he was unconscious. Okay, and he almost died. Okay, so at the end of it, I asked her, like, what was the most important part of this? Like, do we talk about Wesley, like, you know, as he woke up and, like, overcame this injury? Because they thought for a while he was paralyzed. Okay, that's how hard he got hit. And she said, no. And I said, well, is it more like about your dad then? Or like what? And so she's like, well, really, it's about how my dad, you know, yeah, my dad. And I was like, okay. So guess what we had to talk about? Is how her dad reacted to the accident. Okay. And so of course, she wanted her, like, the whole blood thing still in there. All right, and so we added, like, his eldest son lying lifelessly in the grass. Okay, pretty some blood down his face. He raced on the soccer field with desperation that his son would live to see another day. Okay, but Wesley remains still. So all this green stuff is the stuff that she just added. And literally we just added stuff between his dad and him. Like the gash, which would need 14 stitches. What does that tell us about that gash? Yeah, it's pretty big. Okay, open wide just above his eyebrow on the right side of his forehead. The deep blood trickled over both his eyes and collected in a mass of a crimson puddle below him. Robert Wesley Sprague Jr. raced onto the soccer field with desperation that his son would live to see another day, but Wesley's pale body lay still. The former Marine hastened as he moved from behind the fence to help his son. He knew not to move Wesley's neck because it would result in paralyzation. He gently placed his hand on Wes's back so his son could feel his presence. He anxiously awaited for the sounds of the sirens. Seconds moved like hours as he watched his son's life source leave his son's body with each decreasing breath. None of the awards mattered at this moment. Scholarships, dreams, none of it mattered right now because his life might be changed forever. Sprague Jr.'s apprehension escalated as he realized he could not feel his son's back rise. Wesley's breathing was slowing and his face grew white. A wave of relief swept over his entire body as he heard the sirens sound faintly in the distance. Okay. That is the rising climate, the rising action. The son is literally what? Yeah, he's literally dying as his father is right next to him, and his father can't do anything because if he does, it might injure his son worse. He can't move him. Okay, he can't even turn his head because to do so would move his neck. Okay, and might paralyze him. So then comes a moment where the paramedics come and they have a heartbeat and they take off and whisk off to the hospital, and that's the resolution. That's the end of the story. Okay, which she can end in a paragraph. Okay, but the rising action actually is going to take longer because this is how you get your reader engaged, emotionally invested, or at least to understand why this soccer injury was more important than all the other injuries. Okay? And your job as a group today is to help each other figure out where this is in our stories and how to make it better, how to get each other emotionally invested. Okay? And please don't compete with each other. Don't compare your stories to your people's, because all of you have a different story and all of you have a different style of writing. It's not better or worse, it's just different. Does that make sense? Okay, once you start competing, you start like getting weird. Okay. What do you need from me before you get into your groups and do this? And they all talked at once. Huh? You think, does it sound doable?
Yeah.
Okay. So, after you do this with each other today, do you see this? They asked me this morning to move this to rising, action, and climax. Because I didn't understand, moment versus century. Because some of them were like, well, what do we take out now? I don't know. That's the other thing you're going to have to figure out. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. So, your feedback, what you're going to do here is you're going to do your group thing right now. You got 24 hours to do it. Okay, remember you don't technically get out of class until 12:20, right? Even though we're done in 30 minutes, right? You're going to do this with each other, okay? And then when you're done, you're going to do a reflection with revision plans after this, and you're going to post this. You're posting this for your own paper, not for the group. Okay? So Goose will go to her group. She'll do all her stuff. She and Maddie will get together. They'll chit-chat. Okay? And then Goose will get back on her reflection. She'll get on here and she'll be like, okay, so the group went okay. I thought that this was what I wanted to do, but I ended up changing this because they like this better, blah, 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 blah. Or they gave me no feedback whatsoever. My group sucks and I want a new group. Okay, I don't know. Okay. So, remember too that I was homeless for 6 months, so I'm really big on never running out of stuff. Okay, I'm always going to give you more questions than what you need to answer. You don't ever have to answer them all. This is strictly a starting point if you've never done a reflection, or if you're, I don't know what she wants us to talk about. Okay, take a couple of them and go with them. All right, you don't have to answer all of them. Okay, unless you feel like it, and then go for it. Okay, they're literally just kind of like a springboard for you. So you're going to tell me how it went. You're going to tell me like what feedback they gave you. Okay, and then at the end, you're going to give me your revision plans. Okay, and don't put down, I need to put more detail in my paper. Don't do that. That's not a revision plan. Okay, where exactly are you going to make the changes, and how exactly are you going to do that? The more specific you are, the better you'll be when you return to this, because if you don't do it today, after we leave class, I have no idea when you're going to do it again, and you don't either. Okay, so make yourself a little map, and then hit enter and get the grade of 100 for doing it, and then hopefully you'll revise it before Wednesday. Okay, and this is due tomorrow at what time? It's due at midnight. Okay, so if you get it done today before you leave, that's even better, because then you don't have homework. All right, and I know, like, if you guys only get one person done, that's okay too. Make sure before you leave today that you make plans on what you're going to do for the other two. Or the other one. No, two. There's 3 in a group. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that you need from me? How come you moved? Because she moved?
We switched.
That's why I was
I
asking.
wanted to be closer.
Aw. And she didn't?
Yeah.
No, I'm upset. Okay. All right. So